Hey, it's Bruce Rouse here from the Sustainability Education Academy, and it's great to be interviewing today Jessica Morgenthau. She heads up Win, Win, Win mindset, focused on coaching people to drive lasting and meaningful change. She's got an MBA, a master's degree in religion and social justice, which you don't come across very often, and she runs the Resilience Gone Wild podcast. Can you talk about a bit about the work you do in relation to resilience and learning from nature and this concept of win, win, and win, one more win on top of it?
The idea is to be able to bring the best out of people and the way they work together. And systemic team coaching is about looking beyond the individual, beyond the team, and the competitive win of the team performance, to where does the team sit in, and the leader and all the players on the team in the larger world that we actually live in. We do not live in any vacuums. Win, win, win means I win, so you get to win also. We win, whoever's in the actual relationship that you're working with. So it might be the team, it might be you and your customer, whoever you're interacting with at the time. And then everyone wins. Like there's not a loser in the game. You have to be on the winning side. You can't be the loser. You have to be the winner. And there has to be a zero-sum game, winner and loser. You have to win, and somebody else has to lose. And that just makes my whole body just itch, like it's painful to think about that, when I know that we have the opportunity to turn the thought process instead to say, how can we all win? How can I win? How can we win? And how can we all win and there not be a loser in this situation? And it is totally possible. So, and resilience is just a construct and a set of tools that says, you didn't blow it, you're growing, you're always learning, and you'll do better next time. And you did the best you could in that moment. There was no perfect, there doesn't exist a perfect. You did the best you could in that moment, and what can you learn from it? And so that the next time you hit that bump in the road, or any bump in the road, because we all do, life is not free of bumps in the road, because otherwise we're not stretching ourselves and growing and learning and thriving. You'll do better and you'll help others do better. So that's where resilience all ties in.
So can you talk, sorry, I'm kind of going off script a bit here. Can you talk a bit about fun and resilience?
Fun is something we've lost. And you just offered something so important in the whole game. Like, why shouldn't life be fun? Why does it have to be angry, negative energy that's a scarcity model, where like there's always fear that somebody has more than me, I don't have enough, I'm not enough, all that stuff. Like if you just throw all that out and you say we all win, and even though the score is different, and I do believe in keeping score, like for a long time my kids were in this, here's a trophy just for showing up. Like, you know what? You don't learn to deal with disappointment and figure out how you can do better if you don't have some scoring, some measurement.
When we're looking at those of us working in the sustainability space, and there's a lot of concern about climate change and things like that, and this is kind of something that's out of an individual's control. Like, so for example, I've been working in this space for a long time, over 20 years, yeah. And then there's a graph which shows global CO2 concentrations, and it just goes up, 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 and the rate of growth seems to be getting faster and faster, gradually, yeah. So how can you have fun if you're trying to deal with this big problem?
That when you're in negative energy and you feel and what's going through your head is a place of woe is me, life stinks, this can't, extreme words like never, like I can never get better, I can never do this, it's always like that, things that just completely constrict you versus open-ended thinking and language keeps you stuck. And the way out of that is to change your language, to change it, and to change your language and to recognize that you're stuck and to just take the next right step. That step could be so small, right? Like, but the next step gives you energy and positivity to move one more step. Like if you can't just take one step, you're staying there. And your brain is just getting smaller and smaller, and the negative stress hormones are just flying through and keeping you, and they're making you unhealthy, and your whole body is reacting with all this stress reaction. Like you're getting all these, I mean, literally, like if you sit in climate anxiety or any other really stuck place, it's not just going to be in your head. It's not just going to be in your thoughts. It is going to completely come out in your body, right? So many people these days, such a high percentage of people who are sitting in stress and anxiety are having terrible physical problems that match them as well, which keeps them in that same place. So if you can change your language away from thinking that you have to solve all the problems of the world and that you can't possibly matter, to the language of one small step can make a difference. It's a small difference, but if I don't take it and everybody else doesn't take it, we're not going anywhere, right? That scale is just going up logarithmically. So if I take one small step, maybe I'll move the needle a drop. And if I move the needle a drop and then I move it a double drop by the next step, and I send that message out, like I tell people my story, I took one little step, I changed my language, then you influence exponentially, and that graph changes path.
What's been your journey to get to this point now where you're focused on win, win, win?
The message for anybody who's trying to plan their career ahead of time, it to me is so important to recognize that you look back on your life and you look for patterns and choices that you made that you can learn from and that you can be inspired by. That looking forward gives you this like narrow path. This is what I'm going to do, right? Like, and that's it's so easy to do that when you're younger. Like, when are you going to be when you grow up? How do you have to do to get there? Like, what job do you need, and how much money do you need, and what apartment should you have, and how should you dress? And like this like straight line of the norm, right? But there is no norm. There is no straight path to anything. And the key is looking back to say, you didn't make mistakes. You did the absolute best you could in the moment with the resources you had, the information you had, the energy you had.
What do you see as being the key skills that are most in demand at the moment?
I look at, I can only answer that question or I can most effectively answer that question in terms of critical skills and soft skills, as opposed to, although I would say there's some very hard skills around the understanding metrics, understanding circular economics, understanding supply chain management, and being able to look past the simple small numbers and to look at the larger picture, which is this whole win-win-win and systemic. What's going on with the system, which I guess involves both soft, critical, and hard skills. That to me is the most important set of skills that we need, that we need for anyone in any career, but in the sustainability career, to really understand what's going on in the larger picture as well as in the small moment, so that you can understand what's happening as a product moves right from the supplier to the producer.
What do you think are the transferable skills that people should be developing?
I would go down that same path, and the word curious or curiosity is what comes up for me. If you're shifting your role, you're taking what you've had, everything that came with you before. But my professor used to call it situatedness, like all of your biases, your history, your experiences, your energy, everything. And you're going to bring it into the next place. And you could come to the next place with a feeling of overconfidence that you know the answers, but being in curiosity and saying, what don't I know? What can I learn? What can I bring forward? What is this other person, that I'm interacting with thinking about this? Why are they thinking so differently than me? But just do your best in the moment and try things. Just don't be afraid. Just take that step forward and learn from it. Don't go inside yourself and feel shame and guilt and not good enough, and own every step that you take as a positive learning experience and fun, because you're going to look back and have the choice of thinking, why didn't I, right? So instead, why not look back and say, how cool is it that I did?